Okay, this is the interview for the urban legend of Walt Disney. I have a couple of questions for you today. So, first question, what do you believe urban legends are and which ones have you heard of?
I believe urban legends have been passed down from generation to generation. I feel like through those generations, the urban legends get changed a little bit each time. So I think by the end, they're really superficial.
And which ones have you heard of?
Oh, I've heard of, growing up, I always lived near a ditch, so I've heard of La Llorona a lot. And then another one, obviously, a lot of people have always heard of is like the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, those kind of ones.
Okay, have you heard about the urban legend of Walt Disney? And if so, like what version?
I have, and the versions that I've heard of are his ashes are somewhere on the park, and I've seen videos, whether they're photoshopped or not, of him walking through the park at night, like his ghost figure. So his ashes being buried, people say have caused that. Or the other one I've heard is he was cryogenically frozen, and his body is somewhere being kept on the park.
Okay, and what characteristics do you think make Walt Disney an urban legend?
The fact that in the 50s, when he first made Disney Park and all of that, he was super famous, and even till this day, like, he's a really well-known name. So I feel like those contribute to the urban legends that people like to talk about and make up their own ideas about.
Okay, and back to the cryogenically frozen part. Do you believe that you could be cryogenically frozen and brought back?
Well, I'm currently in nursing school studying to be an RN, so I don't think that is possible just from the things I've read and experienced. I don't think you can be frozen. I don't think you can stop your heart for however many years and freeze it and then just warm it back up and it'll start back up again. I think it's good as dead after that.
Okay, and last question. Have you heard of the rule on Disneyland that you can't spread ashes on the park?
Yeah, I have.
And do you think this is part of the urban legend or just like a different rule?
I think it might be a little bit of both, possibly, because I feel like some people, the ones who do believe in ghosts and spirits and all that, they believe that if you dump ashes somewhere, the spirit will stay in that location. So that could be one of the reasons why they don't want people like Walt Disney walking around and catching them on camera. But also, I feel like they probably don't want people who come from all over the world to see their park dumping their loved ones' ashes everywhere, and then people having to walk by them, and late at night when they do their cleaning every night, they'd have to just pick them all up again.
Well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Okay. Question number 1. What do you believe urban legends are, and which ones have you heard of?
Urban legends, in my experience, are stories that are usually shaped by the societies that tell them. So they change over time, and they usually have some kind of moral implication. You asked which other ones have I heard of? Is that what you said?
Which ones have you heard of?
The Hook Man is one that's really popular, I think. It comes up a lot in different versions. There's also stuff like Bloody Mary. There's a lot of speculation even that Little Red Riding Hood was an urban legend when it was made. So, with the moral of don't talk to strangers. But, yeah.
All right.
Okay, question number 2. Have you heard about the urban legend of Walt Disney? And if so, what version?
Oh, yeah. The story, as far as I know, is that Walt Disney, before he died, was frozen cryogenically so that he could be brought back to life later, and that he is stored somewhere on the grounds of Walt Disneyland. Although I've heard 2 different locations. I've heard that he was in the tower of the castle for a while, and then I heard that they moved him from there because now the tower of the castle is a hotel room, like a honeymoon suite. So that would be weird. So they moved him under Pirates of the Caribbean was the last thing I'd heard.
That one's the most common.
Okay, question number 3.
Oh. What characteristics do you think make Walt Disney an urban legend?
Oh, his icon status. He's not just a celebrity. I mean, the man started an empire practically, and not only that, but it's an empire that like formed children's identities. And for me, I mean, I think that's why I would consider him an urban legend in a way, because he represents that kind of like hope in a way.
Okay, question number 4. Do you believe that someone could be cytogenetically frozen and brought back to life?
Oh, I don't think we're there yet. I think it's maybe possible at some point. Certainly not at the time that Disney would have had to have had it done. There's no way it would have been possible. I think it's a cool idea, but I also think it's kind of clear that that whoever came up with the story was really into sci-fi, or that it's a bit more modern than Disney was.
Okay, question number 5. Do you think that the rule of not being allowed to spread ashes in the park further proves that Walt Disney is buried / frozen in the park?
No. So Disneyland and Disney World are insane about their parks. They actually have vents hidden in the bushes and on the side of the road to pump in fresh perfumed air to keep the park smelling nice for visitors. So they're constantly cleaning, and they try to make it so that you don't see the people while they're cleaning, because they want to keep this like illusion of this like enchanted place. And so I think they're so caught up with the cleanliness and the idea of keeping it pristine in that way, and I think that's what the ashes has to do with. I mean, that's a clear health issue, but on top of that, like the process that it takes to clean that up kind of takes away from that illusion of just magically being clean all the time.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.